The Disrupt Education vlog can be found on YouTube. To hear it in podcast form, search Disrupt Education on any of the following podcast platforms: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, or Stitcher. Welcome to this episode of Disrupt Education. I've got a previous student on who's actually still in high school, but it's amazing because he's already started a business. He's a PSM-1 Certified student at age 15, the youngest, I think, ever. Jake Weinberg, thank you so much for being here.
All right, thanks for having me, Mr. H.
All right, well, let's jump in. Tell a little bit about yourself, who you are, and where you are right now.
All right, I'm currently 17 right now. I go to OPRF, Oak Park River Forest High School. Like you mentioned, I actually started my own business at 17. And I've been an athlete at OPRF, playing lacrosse too. And then just going through the motions.
So you and I met in a small business management class. You were a freshman. So that was actually usually it's sophomores, mostly juniors and seniors in this class. And I remember having a conversation with you. I think it was you or your parents. Like, are you going to be okay with this? So you jumped into this. Tell us that journey, your freshman year, and kind of what kind of came out of that, because there were some amazing things you did.
Yeah, I actually felt super comfortable and actually more confident than I actually thought I would be. Because, I don't know, I was a freshman learning with juniors and seniors, and that typically would be nerve-wracking, but I thought it was more of a challenge, and like, oh my God, like, I'm working with juniors and seniors, and I'm only a freshman, and like, thank God I had the few extra credits from summer school, so that was amazing.
And when you came into the class, we did an interesting thing there. So I brought in Professor Daryl Allen, who has been on the podcast years ago, and it's weird to say years ago now. But we created a program to teach people Agile in the Scrum way. You jumped into that. Do you remember what was going through your mind when you were going through that? And can you explain from a student's perspective what that was like?
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, I was pretty skeptical at first, but when Professor Allen actually said you can actually get certified at 15, I was like, wait, really? And that, like, how could this be possible? Because most like college kids or even adults right now don't even either know what it is or even have the will or time to even do this. And I was like, I thought I'd had to be like 18 or 30 by then. And I was like, and then he just, with his pitch, he kind of hooked me. And I was like, this could really work for me. I could really use this in different parts of my life. And I actually could make money off of this too, in a sense.
Going through that process, I remember it was pretty free-flowing. There wasn't a lot of sit and get. You all teamed up. There was, I think, 7 or 8 students in that part of the course. The other part was they were creating their own business, and we were going through the small business kind of curriculum. What was that like going through on a team where you kind of had to set your own goals and everything to attain that?
It was a little different, but we all kind of worked it out together in a group. We all made sure what was either impacting us or what was good for us and what impediments there were. And then just working it out together helped a tremendous amount, because if not, it would be like we were chickens with our heads cut off. We wouldn't know what to do.
And as a team up, it was basically you were scrumming to teach yourself Scrum. Can you tell everybody from your point of view what is Agile and what is Scrum? Because I don't know if a lot of our listeners kind of understand what the methodology is in a nutshell. I know it's pretty big, but what does it mean to you? What does it look like?
So Agile Scrum is basically a framework, and that most big tech companies use this, and it's just a way to find and develop products so you can get them to market faster. And especially in the tech industry, it's very popular there. And then it kind of spreads out to more into other industries too. But mainly what it does is streamlines more product development and educational purposes. with more hands-on learning than more of a teaching on a whiteboard exactly.
You move quickly in Scrum, right?
Yeah, very quickly. Not much downtime.
So you've taken this, you've actually taught at other schools, and you are now a business owner. Talk about how Scrum and Agile and the PSM-1 has played a role in those two things. First, let's go into the teaching thing. So tell us a little bit about that experience and what did you learn from that experience?
So where I taught was actually West Belden Middle School. And then what I usually taught is not exactly a watered down version, but a version that all the terminology and factors and all the things like that would be easier to understand by middle schoolers. And when I did that, I usually had them go through the practice test on scrum.org. That's exactly what I did. And then have them go through that and then have them use all their resources that they had at their disposal to try to learn and then get the questions right and succeed and then go from there. And we try to do eventually see how much improvement they did at the first 2 weeks and then for the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, and just going through the process with that and just being nonstop and then just having a little bit of fun here and there using brain teasers and like more non-traditional educational styles to get everybody engaged.
What kind of results did you see in some of the students? Was there any feedback they gave you?
Yeah, there was a ton of good feedback. They really liked that they were being taught by someone only just a little bit older than them, which I thought was really crazy because I didn't really see it in that perspective exactly, and that they kind of loved it, and I actually loved it too.
Did they, as they would be? I guess that was a couple years ago. Was that just this last year?
Yeah, that was maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay. Have you caught up with any of the students and just kind of like said, "Hey, is this working in your education or anything like that?" Just curious.
Not exactly because I haven't really been out to West Belden recently because since of Corona, I was actually supposed to teach there again or do another session again, but since all this craziness has happened, I didn't have the opportunity to do that exactly, but I probably would have seen a lot of familiar faces at that time.
So let's go into your personal kind of venture into business and even education. But let's jump into education first. How has this changed? You did this your freshman year. You're going to go into your senior year now. Whether we do that, it looks like Oak Park's going to do some e-learning. How has this changed the way that you kind of view school and actually kind of problem solve or basically plan your day as a student?
Well, and one of the main things in Scrum is the definition of done. That's when everything is all perfect in a sense, but it's when everything is all right to everybody's needs and liking. So you really use that in school with with maybe a project that's, well, I don't do this, but some people have a project that's due at 11:59 at night, and just trying to speed up the process and like what do I need, like if I'm writing a paper, how many paragraphs, what kind of terms I need to use, and having the right font and like what type of things is my teacher looking for so I can plan that out, get every single one done one by one, getting it done, and then trying to turn in a finished product.
When you go through that, do you get your work done faster these days?
Yeah, I could say that, yes, I do get my work done faster.
It's an interesting way to break things down, and I remember, being in the class and breaking it down. And I've said it several times in some of my speaking engagements, where you could literally probably finish high school in a couple of years rather than all four. That's amazing. So from this point on, you're working with a company, and first off, tell us what the company is, a little bit about it, and then how are you actually using Agile in your company?
Well, first, I actually have a partner with this company in that she has a lot of connections to other retail sources, and that honestly, success is built on connections, and like furthering that, you can also do Scrum with that, because if you're trying to work through problems, you're going to have a lot of transparent communication, which is another big important role in Scrum that maybe I haven't said until now, but communication and transparency is very vital. And just having that communication with a partner or anyone exactly, and creating relationships, because if someone can do you a favor and you can do a favor back to them, honestly, there's nothing you can't do.
So it's a t-shirt company. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about the company.
Yeah, so we are called On the Dock Designs, and what we do, or what we're doing right now, is trying to create shirts and everything, and then apparel to fit a summer vibe, I guess you could say, or a summer theme. Because I grew up with my grandparents having a lake house, and I would go there almost every summer, and then like on the weekends sometimes. And that my partner also had she had a house in Maine that she would go to a few times a year, and that I just kind of bonded over that and just trying to find something that would work. And honestly, we did. We found that clothing and like something retail clothing we can do, and it's very very fun. And I
What's
don't
the
know.
what's the
Excited.
biggest thing that you have learned so far in the very small amount of time that you've actually owned your own business?
One of the most important things is connections, honestly, because honestly, this is more of a connection too. I reached out to you, and then you're like, "Hey, do you want to speak on my podcast?" I was like, "Why not? For sure, that's awesome." Because I I don't know. Yeah, it's just awesome to speak on this, and I don't know, get my company out there and have recognition, and honestly, to catch up with you too. This is awesome. Yeah.
And yeah, I totally appreciate it. I think a lot of the things that I do with Disrupt Education is just try to connect and then reconnect, right? I have a lot of students like you that were in class, but then now I get to see the growth, and that actually is you doing that favor for me, so I appreciate it. But let me jump into the big question now. Knowing what you know now, you're early on in your education journey, age-wise, in your learning journey. But boy, you are leaps and bounds ahead of where many people are. Not that this whole thing's a race. Going into your senior year and those types of things, and teaching middle school students, pieces of Agile and that. How would you change education? What would you do differently if you had the power to change one or two things?
If I had the power to change education, I would say move to more non-traditional styles, because it's more of hands-on work, and then actually doing real-world things instead of just teaching in a classroom, which does have its benefits. But if you're actually going outside, and then if, I don't know, if you're learning agriculture, you're going outside planting food and all of that. And then if there's a business component, actually going to different companies, shadowing other people, and getting the real world experience that not many people get at this age. And that's very vital for how you learn, or at least how most people or some people may learn.
If you could design your next year, we know COVID and all this stuff is going on. What would Jake Weinberg senior year look like if you could do whatever you wanted to?
My senior year, all right. So I would honestly want to be at school instead of doing all the e-learning, which honestly I get it. It's not particularly possible at the moment, but honestly, be in class and then just have more somewhat of the hands-on type of field trips. If you're learning more and more about hands-on stuff, doing a lot of that, and also still having that functional classroom. That is just that. There's nothing more to that. And then taking all the fun and interesting courses that OPRF can offer. Like I'll be taking astronomy this year, and honestly, that sounds super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I might as well take more business courses, since I'm already doing some stuff now and improving on that. And then just leaving it all the fun stuff. And then also, I will be taking a CS course, computer science, which has a lot of great opportunities in the future. And it sounds really, really interesting to me. I'm like, they actually teach this here. That's going to be super cool. Like, why not?
Are you in CS Discoveries or just computer science?
I think I'll be taking AP Computer Science. Yeah, it should be AP Computer Science.
Okay, got it. Because I taught one of those, and I will tell you, there is so much agile in coding and understanding that. So I think you're going to fit well in there. Jake, tell us where we can find you, the company. How can we get some people? What kind of products are you putting out there? Tell us a little bit about that and how we can connect with your clothing brand.
Yeah, for sure. We have a website, and then we also have social media sites. We're going to develop more of like a TikTok and Facebook, but we do have an Instagram. It's called doc.designs, and you can find our website there. It is part of Square or Cube. And we have our website on there, and we just are allowing online transactions too. We just did that a few days ago, so you can also buy stuff online. And if you just mostly see our Instagram, that's where we are, and you can just find our website from there, and that's almost about it. And then just also things that we offer are shirts, crew necks, hoodies, also sweatshorts. And I think we will be doing sweatpants in the fall. So that's kind of what we offer.
Awesome. Thank you, Jake, so much for sharing your knowledge, your path in education. It honestly, it was truly an honor to be a teacher of yours, to see where you have gone, even beyond just kind of breaking that PSM-1 record as a 15-year-old. Thank you so much for being here with us on Disrupt Education.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. Thank you.
All right, listeners, thank you so much. We'll catch you next time on Disrupt Education.